Hello and welcome to Candela. Today we are going to discuss one chapter in human cultural evolution. This is the Upper Paleolithic culture. Paleolithic, paleo means old, lithic means stone tools. Upper Paleolithic culture, a Paleolithic culture refers to old Stone Age. And this cultural phase has been divided into three subphases: the Lower Paleolithic, the Middle Paleolithic, and the Upper Paleolithic. There were a number of radical changes which happened during the Upper Paleolithic period. Man started developing a lot of art and artistic traditions. Along with that, he made ornaments out of bone and antler. He started painting in cave walls, stone slabs, spear shafts, etc. Along with this, there was also an explosion of population. So how it happened? So during the Upper Paleolithic period, it was the Cro-Magnon, Grimaldi and Chancellide man who existed and who contributed for this cultural phase. The Homo erectus who contributed for the Lower Paleolithic culture. The Neanderthal man who contributed for the Middle Paleolithic culture became altogether extinct from the earth, and now it was the Cro-Magnon, Grimaldi and Chancellide man who contributed for this particular cultural phase. Now let us discuss the climatic conditions which prevailed during this cultural phase. This particular cultural phase was gripped by the last phase of the Pleistocene glaciation, the last phase of the Ice Age, the so-called Würm glaciation. And this glaciation lasted until 14,500 years ago. Around 14,500 years ago, the glaciers created by the Ice Age started melting, and the phenomena of the retreat of glaciers started. All those continental glaciers which survived in the temperate regions started moving towards the poleward, and that retreat of glaciers marks the end of this particular cultural phase. So this cultural phase was dominated by a very cold Ice Age, and the animals which lived during this period managed to live by developing a number of adaptations. Most importantly, the large scale accumulation of the subcutaneous fat. Subcutaneous fat means fat present just beneath our skin. This subcutaneous fat acts as an insulating material, and it can prevent any damage, any cold damage to the internal organs, bone and the internal organs by the freezing weather outside. So these large sized animals are called as a Pleistocene megafauna. A very important example being the woolly rhinoceros, the Siberian mammoth, the straight-tusked elephants, giant reindeers. These are very good examples for the Pleistocene megafauna. These animals are so large and massive at the same time. Because of the large fat in their body, they were a bit lethargic also. They are not capable of running very fast. So this provided a large scale surplus resources. As these animals cannot run fast, it gave a lot of comfort to the people who lived there, because they can just go and hunt these animals at ease. Just a primitive spear is sufficient to go and kill these animals. But most of the time the hunting was communal, and the people developed they made number of pitfalls to trap the large number of animals. And once when they kill these animals, they can bring it back to their caves, and they can use this meat for weeks together, because in those cold freezing environment which prevailed, it was possible for them to preserve the meat at ease, and the meat won't get spoiled for a long time. So there was surplus resources during this Upper Paleolithic period. There was no need for the man to struggle in the environment for his survival. There were abundant resources in the form of a Pleistocene megafauna. So this gave them lot of leisure. At the same time, because of the very cold environment which prevailed during that climate, during that period, it was difficult for the people to move here and there. So the freezing weather and the foggy conditions curtailed their movement. As a result, most of the time, human beings are forced to live in the caves. They have surplus food materials. So what maximum they can do? Food, sex. But how long they can continue with this? So this leisure and the surplus resources made him an artist, made him to do a number of cultural innovations. He started painting on cave slabs. He started making ornaments out of bone and antler to impress his woman. And behind a particular time, right, when he was not in a position to impress the woman just with a bone, just with a ornament made out of bone or antler, he started making Venuses. There are 4 distinct cultural phases in the Upper Paleolithic: the Perigordian, Aurignacian, Solutrean, and Magdalenian. Perigordian being the most primitive and Magdalenian the most evolved cultural phase. The Perigordian has been further subdivided into the Châtelperronian and the Gravettian. The tools of Upper Paleolithic culture, these are called as osteodontocratic tools. Even the culture itself is called as osteodontocratic culture. By osteo we refer to bone tools. By donto we refer to tool made out of teeth, and by keratin, where we find keratin is a protein which is found in our nails and in the hairs, but nails and hairs cannot be used effectively as a stone tool. Keratin here refers to the horn of rhinoceros. Even in the horn of rhinoceros, keratin is found, and the horn of rhinoceros was used as a tool by the Upper Paleolithic people. That's why we call this culture as a stone tool culture. The stone tools of Upper Paleolithic includes blades, boreens, scrapers, point borers, etc. Along with these, the large elegant harpoons are made out of the bones. Needles are also found, which shows there was some sort of a tailoring activity. See, the Perigordian tools. The Perigordian tools largely includes the denticulate tools. So we say it, the denticulate tools and the stone knives having one sharp edge and another edge which will be blunt. So the denticulate or the tooth-shaped bone tools were very common during the Perigordian period, and as I told you, Perigordian is further subdivided into the Châtelperronian. Châtelperronian existed around the Périgord region of France, while the Gravettian existed in France, Italy, as well as in Russia. The difference in this cultural phase is largely because of the animals which were hunted. The Gravettians hunted large number of horses, and there was a remarkable absence of hunting of bison and even elephants. So the next cultural phase, that is Aurignacian tools. So there was a large scale diversification of the stone tools, and most importantly there was the invention of the burin. So burin is a tool used for engraving. So burin, there is a difference between a blade and a burin. In a burin, right, we can always see one sharp edge, one pointed edge that is used for engraving. So it was the development of, or it was the invention of burin which made our Upper Paleolithic man to do most of his artworks, like engraving on the bone and even engraving in the rock shelters. The Solutrean tools, right, in Solutrean phase, these laurel leaf or the willow leaf shaped blade tools. See these blade tools. It almost looks like the shape of that, right, looks like the shape of a willow leaf or a laurel leaf. Along with these are shouldered points. These are the common tools during the Solutrean period, and finally during the Magdalenian period, there are a number of clear evidence to show that these blades and the points, right, were hafted to a bone or an antler or a twig. There are some provisions which are meant for hafting the tools to a bone or a twig. The surplus resources of the upper Paleolithic period provided a lot of leisure, and this leisure allowed the people here to make a number of artworks. They have made number of ornaments made out of bone and antler. They have made number of bracelets, pendants, bone needles, bone pins, etc. This they used to impress the woman. Along with this, with the passage of time, men also started making female figurines made out of bone again, and even these female at times, even these female figurines were engraved in the cave walls. These female figurines are called as Venus, which is a very important aspect for the upper Paleolithic culture. Venus are the female figurines having exaggerated body parts. They made all these figures to show the girls, see how big and beautiful you look. Venuses. Then the paintings. Most of the paintings they made, right, it depicted hunting scenes. So these painting traditions which was started during the Perigordian period, it reached its peak during Magdalenian period. By Magdalenian period, almost people were in a position to make this polychrome paintings. It is paintings in which different colors were found. This one very good example is this Altamira cave paintings of bison and the horse. You can see multiple colors in this. The very rich art traditions which developed during the Perigordian period reached its peak during the Magdalenian period. Now let us summarize the very important aspect of the upper Paleolithic culture. See, there was a cold environmental condition. Along with this, there were surplus resources in the form of Pleistocene megafauna. And these surplus resources and leisures permitted our man to do a number of cultural development. There was an improvement in the stone tools. Most of the tools were flake tools and blade tools, along with the invention of boring. The tool culture of upper Paleolithic is also called as Osteodonto-Keratic culture. This cultural phase is again subdivided into Perigordian, Aurignacian, Solutrean and Magdalenian. Perigordian has been further subdivided into the Châtelperronian and the Gravettian. Okay. So, the art traditions which developed during the Perigordian period reached its peak during the Magdalenian period, after which, right, there was a change in environment. With the change in environment, there was, that means a warm environmental conditions overtook the cold ice ages. As a result, the glaciers started melting. With this melting of glaciers, there was no need for the Pleistocene megafauna to have that adaptation, that is that excessive subcutaneous fat. And there was one theory which says that most of these Pleistocene megafauna were hunted to extinction in a matter of 2000 years. With the change in environment, there was altogether a different set of game. This melting of glaciers, technically the retreat of glaciers, marks the end of the upper Paleolithic and the beginning of the next cultural phase, the Mesolithic. In our next lecture, let us discuss the Mesolithic culture. Thank you.